Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Tinimani bhikkave akusala mulani katamani tini. Lobo akusala mulam, doso akusala mulo, moho akusala muloti. Homage to the Exalted One, the Worthy One, the Supremely Enlightened One. Dear friends in Dhamma, all of you are warmly welcome. At this moment, we are going to explain one of the main doctrines in Buddhism, that the unwholesome mental states. When Buddha explained his message to the world, the Supreme Buddha especially explained the wholesome and unwholesome mental states. In one side, we should understand unwholesome mental states. On the other side, we should understand unwholesome mental states. In Pali, kusala and akusala. The roots of kusala and the roots of akusala. When we consider the Buddha's message, Buddha always explained the way how we achieve the real happiness. Ordinary people also, always they find happiness. Finding happiness, they always try to increase or develop their money, their education, and their glory or fame. Sometimes some people, even they do some good deeds, meritorious deeds in the name of glory, in the name of fame. Therefore, we should be very careful about our mind. Some negative thoughts arise our mind unconsciously. We don't know it. Therefore, we always take care of our mind. And also, according to Buddhism, our real success, happiness, completely depends on how far we have eradicated negative thoughts from our mind. Here it is very important to understand the unwholesome mental states. Buddhism has explained there are 1,500 unwholesome mental states that disturb our peace of mind. But all of them can be included into three. They are lobha, dosa, and moha. Lobha means covetousness, greed, attachment, craving, desire, or lust. There are several synonyms for lobha or attachment. And the second one is dosa in Pali, in English, anger or ill will. The third one is moha or ignorance or delusion. These are the main unwholesome mental states. They are the real enemies who disturb our peace of mind. We may think that enemies outside, but enemies are inside. Buddha says very clearly we can defeat hundreds of enemies in the battlefield. It is not a big challenge. It is not the real victory. But Buddha says the real victory, real winning of our life is that defeating these three unwholesome mental states from our mind. In this situation, all Buddhist doctrines can be included into mindfulness and mindful meditation. In Pali, Sati Sampajanya. Whatever we do in the name of Buddhism, that Buddha explained to the world to overcome suffering, focus on mindfulness and mindful meditation. In another way, Samatha and Vipassana, concentration and insight meditation. In one side, we should keep our attention in the present moment. That is mindfulness. Being aware of our body and mind. In details, being aware of our body, feelings, consciousness and mental formations. Or fourfold mindfulnesses. Kayanupassana, Vedanupassana, Chittanupassana, Dhammanupassana. That is mindfulness. And also, on the other side, we reflect on impermanence. Samudaya Dhammanupassi viharati, Vaya Dhammanupassi viharati. Arising and ceasing. We should contemplate on arising and ceasing of our body and mind. In details, we should contemplate on impermanence of our body, feelings, consciousness and mental formations. This is the Buddhist path. This is the highest advice in Buddhism in short. But Buddha always explained his message as a gradual path. It has an order. Like Buddha says, when Buddha met a general audience, Buddha explained his message with details as an order. Dana kata, sila kata, sagga kata, kamanang adinavam, okarang sankilesang, nekkamecha anisansam, like that. Dana kata means the stories of generosity. Sila kata means the stories of virtue. Sagga kata, the stories of going to heaven. Kamanang adinavam, the danger of sensual pleasure. Nekkamecha anisansam, advantage of renunciation. Then mind is concentrated with these meritorious deeds, fundamental qualities. Then Buddha explained the Four Noble Truths. That is his way that he explained his message. In this situation, we are explaining the path of happiness. As I mentioned before, our success depends on our happiness. Our happiness depends on how far we have purified our mind from negative thoughts. Here we should understand what are the negative thoughts that disturb our peace of mind. They are greed, anger, and delusion. Then here Buddha says, especially we should take care of our mind, because mind decides everything that we have. That is why Buddha says, Mano Pubbangama Dhamma. Mano is the forerunner. Mano Setta, mind is the chief. Manomaya, mind made that day. Manasache paduttena bahasativa karotiva. If someone does something with a wicked mind, suffering follows him. And also, again Buddha says, if someone does something with a pure mind, happiness follows him, like his own shadow. In this situation, little by little, Buddha explained how we eradicate our mind from negative thoughts. In this situation, we first explain the unwholesome mental states. They are They are lobha or craving, lobha, dosa and moha. Lobha means craving, dosa means anger or ill will, moha means ignorance. Buddha has explained his message according to conventional truth and absolute truth, in the mundane level and supramundane level. First of all, Buddha pointed out the way how we eradicate these negative thoughts in the mundane level, in the conventional truth. When Buddha appeared in the world, there were some ascetic people who had eradicated their mind in some levels. But they had realized only 5 hindrances. You know hindrances? Kamachanda, sensual pleasure, vyapada, ill will, thina sloth and torpor, uddacha kukucha, restlessness and scruples, and vicikiccha, skeptical doubt. These are the 5 hindrances. When Buddha appeared in the world, there were some ascetic people who had eradicated these 5 hindrances for many eons. 84 eons. For 84 eons, they had eradicated these negative thoughts. These 5 hindrances can be included into craving and anger. But after Buddha appeared in the world, Buddha realized another hindrance. What is that? Yes, that is ignorance. Buddha pointed out 6th hindrance that nobody had realized when Buddha appeared in the world. In this situation, first of all, we should understand how we eradicate these negative thoughts in mundane level. In this level, it is very important to understand the very first step of right understanding or sammaditthi in Buddhism. Right understanding or sammaditthi can be divided into first level, the mundane level, then supramundane level. Listening to Dhamma is one of the entrances of liberation. If we listening to Dhamma clearly, at the moment our negative thoughts gradually decrease. Therefore, Buddha says, Dhamma savana vimuttayatana. If we listening to Dhamma, it is not away from meditation. That is very important. Sometimes you may think that if we practice meditation, it is better. Actually, Buddha says, Janato aham bhikkhave passato asavanam khayam vadami no ajanato no apassato. I proclaim the liberation for those who know the path, who see the path. Therefore, listening to Dhamma is very important. And also, when Buddha was in this world, a lot of people attained enlightenment when they were listening to Dhamma, not when they are closing eyes. Most of people attain enlightenment when Buddha was in this world while they were opening eyes, not closing eyes. That is very important. However, sati and sampajanya, mindfulness and wisdom should develop whatever we do. When we listen to Dhamma, when we preach Dhamma, when we discuss Dhamma, when we chant Dhamma, when we meditate, whatever we do in the name of Buddhism, our mindfulness and mindful meditation or wisdom gradually should develop. And here also, I think, because we explain this message as a gradual path, our mindfulness and mindful meditation should gradually increase to the maximum level. In this level, we should have very special understanding. In the first level, in the conventional truth, mundane level, what is the understanding that we should have in this level? Yes, very good. The understanding of the karmic law. Karmic law. Whatever we do with intention as volitional actions, we will have the same results according to our present mental condition. If mind is polluted, the results are bad or evil. If mind is pure, the results are fruitful. In this level, we should understand the karmic law. That is very important. With the understanding of the karmic law, we reduce these negative thoughts in some levels. What are the techniques that we can practice to reduce lobha or craving? One of them is generosity, practicing generosity, sharing something with others who are respected or who are needed in. That is the very first step. Then we can generate positive thoughts too, meritorious thoughts. And also there is another advantage, benefit that we receive throughout practicing generosity is that Buddha says, he who is generous wins friends. If someone wants to win friends, should practice generosity. Dadang mittani gantati. He who practices generosity wins friends, make friends. And also that's one of the techniques to overcome greed or attachment. The other one is, there is another defilement that we have in this level, raga or lust, lustful desire. It is one of the reasons that disturb our peace of mind. Therefore, we have to practice another technique. What is that? Yes, patikula manasikara, or the contemplation of impurity of body parts. Patikula manasikara. Our body has 32 body parts, such as kesa, loma, naka, danta, hair, skin, hair, nails, like that. We separate one by one from our body, not physically, but mentally. We keep away our hair, skin, hair, nails, blood, skin, teeth, like that. Then what happens to us? Nothing. Yes, we can understand there is no important thing, very valuable thing in our life. But when all of them are together, we think, I am a valuable person, I am a beautiful person. But when we separate those things, we can understand what is the nature of our life. That is why Buddha says, Ragasa pahanaya asuban bhave thabbang. If you want to overcome lustful desire, should have to practice the impurity of body parts, patikula manasikara. That is also very important. This level, next, dosa or anger or ill will. Anger is one of the main reasons that disturb our peace of mind. Buddha says, at the beginning on the path of liberation, we have to practice loving kindness. Buddha says, Yantan santam padang abhisamicca sabbe sattaha bhavantu sukhinatta. He who wishes to attain the peace of mind should have to practice loving kindness. Until we start practicing loving kindness, we haven't started the path of liberation. Not only for liberation, but for our inner peace, we should practice loving kindness. Again and again. Sometimes it is difficult to practice when we have some people who have misbehaviors and they come to our mind suddenly. But actually they don't bring us suffering. We create suffering by ourselves in our mind. Nobody or nothing can bring us suffering or happiness. We ourselves create happiness or suffering in our mind according to our ignorance. Therefore, we have to practice, we should spread loving kindness again and again. May all beings be well, happy and peaceful. Again and again. As the result of practicing loving kindness, the highest attitude is that when we meet a person, we think that person like our only son or daughter. Mata ayataniyam puttam. If we have this highest intention, attitude, actually we can overcome a lot of anger, not only anger, even greed we can overcome. When we have children, we are not greedy. We are always generous. Whatever they are needing, we are ready to offer them. Like that, when we meet a person, we are generous. We are so kind. Our mind is so compassionate with this understanding and practice. Loving kindness. Moha means, moha also can be divided into several stages. In this level, moha that we overcome is that the unknowing of the karmic law. In this level, we overcome the unknowing of karmic law. But still we have avidya. That is why I think you have heard about avidya paccaya sankhara. Mental formations arise because of ignorance. Avidya paccaya sankhara. In this level, with the listening to the Buddha's message, we understand the karmic law, but still we have ignorance. That is why avidya paccaya sankhara. Mental formations arise because of delusion or ignorance. Avidya paccaya sankhara. That sankhara can be included into three. What they are? Apunyāvi sankhara, unwholesome mental states. Apunyāvi sankhara, unwholesome mental states. And punyāvi sankhara, wholesome mental states. And anenjavi sankhara. Anenjavi sankhara means the mental formations which cause to be born in the arupachara brahma states. Formless divine beings. Arupachara dhyana. And these three things arise because of avidya. That is why Buddha says this is included to mundane level. Have you any question? Anenjavi sankhara. The mental formations that help us to be reborn in the arupavachara brahma states. Arupavachara means formless brahma states, brahma realms. This punyavi sankhara helps us to be reborn in the human realm, heaven realm, and formless Brahma realms, Rupachara Brahma Loka. Three of them arise because of delusion or ignorance. What is the ignorance? Ignorance means we think there is something outside. Before we experience something, there was something. After we experience, it remains. And also, in this level, we have no understanding about the impermanence of paticca-samuppada. We have only the understanding of the karmic law. And but the important thing, even though we have the understanding of the Paticamuppada or the dependent origination, we don't neglect in these stages, Punyavi Sankhara and Arinjavi Sankhara. Why is that? We do these meritorious deeds focusing on liberation. It means in Buddhism, Vosagga Parinami. We focus on liberation. Even we practice samatha meditation. At the beginning of the samatha meditation, we are unable to overcome selflessness, ego. We have ego concept, self-concept when we practice even samatha meditation. But after mind is concentrated, we reflect on impermanence according to what we have already heard.
Vasaga, the second word was what?
Vasaga Parinami. Parinama means focus on. Vasaga means liberation or enlightenment. Focus on liberation. One day, some disciples went to another religious people's place. Then those religious people asked the question. What is that? They asked, we also practice loving kindness. Your master, the Gautama Buddha, also advised you to practice loving kindness meditation. Both of us are same. But at that moment, those monks had no answer. They came back to the Buddha and they explained what they heard to the Buddha. Then Buddha said, no, my disciples, we are different. We are different. Their concentration meditation, their loving kindness ends with concentration, with samadhi. But our concentration, loving kindness meditation focus on nibbana or enlightenment. That is the difference. And however, with the understanding of the karmic law, in some levels we overcome with the understanding of the karmic law in this level. And also, we have another step. Yes, there is another thing that I have to explain. Buddha has explained karma as 4 stages. In Dutiya Kamma Sutta, it is very important to understand. Buddha says, there are 4 karmas. Atti bhikkhave kammang, kannan kanna vipakam. There are some actions, those who which cause for black results. There are some actions which are black that cause black results. Atti bhikkhave kammang kannan kanna vipakam. That is the first one. That directly cause us to be reborn in the lower realm, in the hell realms. Secondly, Buddha says, Atti bhikkhave kammang sukkhaṃ sukha vipākam. There are some actions which are white that cause us to be reborn in the good realms, which cause white results. Atti bhikkhave kammang sukkhaṃ sukha vipākam. That's the second one. First one is kannan kanna vipākam and sukkhaṃ sukha vipākam. The second one, atti bhikkhave kammang akanna sukhaṃ akanna sukha vipākam. Atti bhikkhave kammang kanna sukhaṃ kanna sukha vipākam. Atti bhikkhave kammang kanna sukhaṃ kanna sukha vipākam. There are some actions, black and white, that consequence, that cause black and white results. In sometimes we do good deeds, another time we do bad deeds. As the result of doing black and white karmas, we will be reborn in the human realm and sometimes in Asura Yoni. There is another realm, Asura, as the result of black and white actions. These three things are included into mundane level, in this level. All of them arise because of ignorance or delusion. And also in this situation, as the result of practicing this path, what is the highest result, highest position that we can achieve as the result of practicing this path in the wholesomeness, samadhi, samatha, concentration. Buddha says, in this level we can practice three meritorious deeds: dana, sila and bhavana, generosity, virtue and meditation. And virtue means practicing 5 precepts: abstaining from taking life, abstaining from stealing, abstaining from sexual misconduct, abstaining from false speech, abstaining from intoxicating drinks and drugs. Virtue, the second meritorious deed. The third one is that meditation. In this level, Buddha explained the meditation. What kind of meditation? Samatha meditation. As an example, Buddha explained Metta Bhavana. Metta Bhavana or loving kindness is the highest quality, technique that we can practice to develop our spirituality to the maximum level in the mundane level with the conventional truth. That is very important. That is the direct way. That is the very successful way that we can practice for the gaining of inner peace. And if someone can practice Samatha Bhavana to the maximum level in the jhana level, it means he is like a Brahma realm, Brahma being. Even though he is physically in the human realm, mentally he is in the Brahma realm. That happiness is over than human realm and even heavenly realm. 6 heavenly realms we can overcome with this happiness. And if we want to see the beauty of our mind, the beauty of our life, we have to practice this path. Buddha has explained this path very kindly. If we have lesser time, it means we are rich in merits. There are some people who are very rich, who are well educated, who do a lot of meritorious deeds, but they have no lesser time for practicing this path. Why is that? Their merit, their fortune is not successful yet. Now you are so fortunate. You are not only educated and rich, but you are rich in rest and leisure times. You have received that benefit as the result of our previous merits, fortune and your wishes. We should understand it. And the highest position that we can achieve in this level is that attaining the jhana or samatha. Especially by practicing loving kindness meditation, we can develop our mind to the maximum level in the mundane level with the understanding of the karmic law. But the thing is, even though we practice this path to the maximum level in the mundane level, already we have some challenges, some problems, some issues in our life that we are unable to overcome with this understanding. What they are? Yes, aging, death and rebirth. Even though we practice Samatha Bhavana to the maximum level, we are unable to overcome the suffering of aging, the suffering of death, the suffering of rebirth. That is why Buddha says, we should find a spiritual teacher and his sublime truth because of three reasons. They are aging, death, and rebirth. For that, the second level, Buddha explained another teaching, which is the dependent origination. Until we come to the jhana, there are some same religions in the world. Even some Buddhists know only the first stage, first level. Therefore, they may say that everywhere the lamps in the mosque, in the church, in the kovil are same. They say that the lamp, which is everywhere, in the mosque, in the church, in the kovil, in the temple are same. But they know only the first level. When we go to the next level, Buddhist lamp is different. Buddhist lamp is different. Why is that? All other religions, teachings and philosophies can be included into one level. Buddhism is different. What is the difference in Buddhism? Other people may say that there is something outside, or sometimes they say that there isn't something outside. They are in extremes, in annihilism or eternalism. Uchcheda or Sassata. Some people, they may say that there isn't something. That is an extreme. Some people may say that there is something. That is also an extreme. Buddhism explains this message without going these extremes. If we think that there is something, that is an extreme. If we think there isn't something, that is an extreme. Without going these extremes, what is the teaching that Buddha explained his message? Yes, with the doctrine of the dependent origination. Asmin sati dan hoti, asmin asati dan hoti. This is the concept. When there is something, when the conditions are here, the experience is here. When conditions cease, the experience ceases. Then we don't go to nihilism or eternalism, uchcheda or sassata. Another way Buddha says, here we should understand the very important thing, impermanence. Now we are going to explain the vidarsana bhavana or vipassana bhavana, insight meditation. When we study vipassana bhavana, it is very important to understand three concepts. One of them is the dependent origination. The second one is impermanence. The third one is the Four Noble Truths. What they are? The dependent origination, impermanence, and the Four Noble Truths. These three things are interrelated. And also, the more we know these three things, the more we know the path, which is the Eightfold Path. That is very important. He who knows the noble truth of suffering knows the noble truth of the cause of suffering. He who knows the noble truth of the cause of suffering knows the cessation of suffering. He who knows the noble truth of the cessation of suffering knows the noble truth of the path that leads to getting rid of suffering. If we understand one thing in Four Noble Truths, we understand other three things. But we should understand very clearly at least one truth. This is the place where we are needing Kalyana Mitra, good association. Good association decides our spiritual path, our spiritual progress. And here, in several stages, we can explain the suffering or the noble truth of suffering. In the primary level, Buddha says, Jati vidukkha, jarapi dukkha, vyadi vidukko, maranampi dukkham, api sampayogo dukko, pihi vipayogo dukko, yampi channalabati sampi dukkham, yampi channalabati sampi dukkham. In first level. Jati dukkha, birth is suffering. Jarapi dukkha, aging is suffering. Vyadi dukko, sickness is suffering. Maranapi dukkham, death is suffering. Api sampayogo dukko, associating with unpleasant people is suffering. Pihi vipayogo dukko, separating from nearest and beloved ones is suffering. And yampichan nalabadikampi dukkham, if we wish something, if we are unable to gain those things, that is also suffering. That's the very first level. Next, Buddha says, Sankittena panchupadana khanda dukkha, all of them can be included into one panchupadana khanda. The five grasping aggregates, the clinging to five aggregates. Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, Vijnana. That is the second level. What is the third level? Actually, these first level and second level can be listening to somewhere, in somewhere. But there is another deep meaning in the noble truth of suffering. Our real success, our skillfulness, our fortune completely depends on understanding of the third level. This is the place where you should be wise. This is the place where you should pay your attention correctly and clearly. This is the place where you should dedicate your everything. And what is the third level about suffering? Buddha says here, it is very important to understand the three things. Buddha says, in Parisambhida Magga, in Charya Nanatta Jnana, Buddha says there are three things, three behaviors. Buddha explained three behaviors. Vijnana Charya, Ajnana Charya, Ajnana Charya and Jnana Charya. Jnana Charya. What they are. Here Buddha says, Kāyikan dukkhaṃ cetasikan dukkhaṃ tapetva avasesaṃ dukkha satyam. If there is something except physical pain and mental pain, that is the noble truth of suffering. If there is something except physical pain and mental pain, that is the noble truth of suffering. That has a very special meaning. Sometimes you may be confused. If there is something, is there anything except physical pain and mental pain? If we say that, you may be confused. Actually, there is something. That is the thing what the Buddha realized and discovered. That is the thing Buddha says, Pubbe anunusotesu dhammesu චක්කුම් උදපාදී, ඥානං උදපාදී, පඤ්ඤා උදපාදී, විද්‍යා උදපාදී, ආලෝක උදපාදී. I discovered something that I never realized, which is that the noble truth of suffering. Other people can understand this one. Sankitena panchupadanakkhandha dukkha comes to here. Ajnanacharya. Ajnanacharya can be realized by other people too. You know, when someone is going to old age, sicknesses, death, anyone can understand. We don't need a Buddha to understand death is suffering, sickness is suffering, decay is suffering. But we need a spiritual teacher to understand this level, the noble truth of suffering. Firstly, Buddha says, Kāyikan dukkhaṃ cetasikan dukkhaṃ tapetva avasesaṃ dukkha sacchaṃ. If there are anything except physical pain and mental pain, that is the noble truth of suffering. It means this one, Vijñānacharya. What is that? When we experience something through our six senses, the very first experience is this one, Vijñānacharya. That very first experience is neither wholesome nor unwholesome. That very first experience is neutral. It is very instant. Suddenly we see something that arises and ceases. But again, sanya and vedana, sanya perception and feelings arise when those first experience ceases. Then we think those feelings and perception through our mind secondly. That very first experience has no suffering or no happiness. That first experience is neutral. That first experience is instant. It arises and ceases immediately. But after it ceases, because of our ignorance, we think there is something outside. We look at inside. We look at outside. And we think that suffering or happiness generate from outside. Then we look at outside. And because of ignorance, we have already explained 3 karmas. Those 3 karmas are included into this level. Ajnanacharya. Even we develop our mind to the maximum level in samadhi concentration in the mundane level, we are still in ignorance, Ajnanacharya. Attibhikkhave kamman sukkhaṃ sukha vipākaṃ. There are some actions which are white that cause white results. But if we are wise, if we are mindful, we realize that first experience, suddenly we go to the next level, Jnanacharya. Jnanacharya means, what is that? We look at that experience wisely and mindfully. Then we don't go to the world again. Then these 3 karmas are stopped. Then another karma starts. What is that? Attibhikkhave kammaṃ. Attibhikkhave kammaṃ. Akanna sukkhaṃ. Akanna asukha vipākaṃ. There are some actions, neither black nor white, that cause neither black nor white results. What is that? That is kammakkayāya samvatati vipassana bhavana. That is the vipassana bhavana. When someone reflects on impermanence, dissatisfactory, egolessness, that is vipassana bhavana. Reflecting on impermanence of our 5 aggregates, 6 senses, 6 objects, nama rupas, corporeality and mentality, these are the things which belongs to Vipassana Bhavana. This is the thing that Buddha explained. Janato aham bhikkhave passato asavanam kayam vadami no ajanato no apassato. I proclaim the path to those who know the path, who see the path. Until we understand this path, the noble truth of suffering, we are unable to start our spiritual journey for the destruction of ignorance. We can develop our concentration, samatha, in some levels according to mundane level, in jhana stages. But we are unable to attain the next level, Vipassana Bhavana. Here, when we are going to understand Dukkha Satya or the noble truth of suffering, Buddha explain another thing. First Buddha says, Kāyikan dukkhaṃ cetasikan dukkhaṃ tapetva avasesaṃ dukkha satyam. Again Buddha says very special thing. This is the place that you can show your skillfulness, your wisdom, your intelligence. Buddha says, Kāyikan dukkhaṃ cetasikan dukkhaṃ dukkhaṃ ca dukkha satyam ca. If there is something which are physical pain and mental pain, those belong to the noble truth of suffering and the suffering. Then you may be completely confused. Then I can give you an example. Last days, actually we gave an example. There is a big category, like vehicles. Vehicles. There are many vehicles. Van, buses, motorcycles, cars, trains, like that. Every van is a vehicle and a van as well. Every van is a vehicle and a van as well. Every bus is a vehicle and a bus as well. But all vehicles are not buses. All vehicles are not cars. All vehicles are not motorcycles. Why is that? There are other vehicles too. That is like that. All sufferings belong to the noble truth of suffering. All sufferings, physical pain and mental pain, belong to the noble truth of suffering. But all the noble truth of sufferings don't belong to suffering. Why is that? What is the reason? The reason is even Arhantas have the noble truth of suffering. Even Arhantas have the noble truth of suffering. The first experience is same for everyone. Same means according to their karmas, it is same. Now, at this moment, our karma is same in some levels. Therefore, we see only human beings here. Sometimes someone's karma changes, you may see other beings too here. Now, we are same in some levels. But from time to time, it is different. The first experience is neutral. The first experience comes to even Arhantas, even Sotapanna, even Arhantas, even Anagamis. But the second experience is different. Very first experience arises and ceases at the moment, and the ignorant person gets that experience as mine, as myself, as me. Then Arhantas, or who practices insight meditation, at the moment we reflect on that experience as impermanent, as dissatisfactory, as selfless. Then that karma, that mental formations, that sankhara belongs to Atti bhikkave kammang akanna sukhang akanna sukha vipakang kammakkayaya samvatati. There are some actions which are neither black nor white, that cause neither black nor white results. What is that? Whenever we reflect on impermanence about our 5 senses, 6 senses, 5 aggregates, nama rupa, dvadasa ayatana, 18 elements, whenever we reflect on impermanence of our entire life at the moment, we don't touch outside things and persons mentally. Physically we touch, mentally we don't touch. We are like the flowers which have come from the mud. Padmopamava. That is the example of the lotus flower. We live in the ordinary people. We live in the ordinary society physically. Mentally we don't touch their defilements, their craving, their anger, their delusion. When we say this is a person who has attained enlightenment, that we say not only for their physical body, but we say their understanding, their wisdom. Their wisdom don't touch physical things. They live with their mind and mental formations. We ordinary people, when we look at something, we look at inside, we look at outside. And this is a paper. I realize, I understand this paper with my mind, but my ignorance says that I understand this paper through my eyes, eye consciousness. Actually, through eye consciousness, we are unable to realize or understand something. When we understand something, the first experience has seized, we understand something through our mind and mental formations, mental consciousness. That is the thing that happens to our life. And this is the thing that we should understand. If we understand this path, we are hurried to go forward. We are hurried to practice this path. Now we know the address. We know the destination. Now we try to drive fast. Without saying, without knowing this path, if we drive fast, our effort is useless. Why is that? We don't know the destination. We don't know the address. Even though we drive fast, we don't know where we are going to, what the destination is. That is why Buddha says, when we start this journey, first of all we know the path, then we see the path. We know the path means Sutame Jnana, the knowledge of listening to. And Chintame Jnana, the knowledge of reflecting on. Bhavaname Jnana, the knowledge of meditation. Meditation means then we start our meditation with samatha and vipassana, concentration and insight meditation as much as we can. We give the higher priority to our life with practicing concentration and insight meditation. You know, we know very well, our real success depends on the duration of practicing concentration and insight meditation. Ordinary people may think that their success depends on the duration of their, the amount of their money and their education and their working harder. But we who know the Buddha's message know that very well. Our real success depends on the duration of concentration and insight meditation. Day by day, we increase the duration of concentration meditation by practicing some samatha meditation techniques. Keeping our attention in this area, we practice loving kindness, breathing meditation, like that. When mind is concentrated, we reflect on impermanence, arising and ceasing of our mind and body, 5 aggregates, 6 senses, 18 elements, nama rupa, mentality and corporeality. We reflect on everything as impermanent, selfless and dissatisfactory. Then little by little, when we eradicate moha or ignorance, then automatically our attachment and detachment, our craving and anger, little by little reduce, decrease. They have no place to live. They go away. They have no vacant. Have any question?
After the first experience, can you explain that a little bit more?
Yes. The very first experience is Vijnanacharya, the first experience that we receive through our 6 senses. That is common for everyone. Even Arhantas can't overcome this first experience. Even Arhantas have the Vijnanacharya. That is the noble truth of suffering. Buddha never said us to overcome the noble truth of suffering. The reason is that even Arhantas are unable to overcome Vijnanacharya. What we should do about the Vijnanacharya or the noble truth of suffering? We should be realized. We should be understood. That is the thing that we should do for the noble truth of suffering. The second one, Samudaya Satya, the origin, the noble truth of the origin of suffering should be removed, should be eradicated. The third one, Nirodha Satya, the cessation, the noble truth of the cessation of suffering should be realized. Nirvana. The noble truth of the path that leads to getting rid of suffering should be practiced. Bhavetabbam. Dukkha satyam parinyayam. Samudaya satyam pahatabbam. Nirodha satyam satchikatabbam. Magga satyam bhavetabbam. Magga satya means it details the eightfold path. In short, the 3 disciplines, Sila, Samadhi, Prajna, in very short. Samadhi, Prajna, Samatha, Vipassana, in very, very short. Prajna. Insight meditation. Reflecting on impermanence of our 6 senses, 5 aggregates, everything. Vijnanacharya is the first experience. When we are ignorant, Vijnanacharya come to Ajnanacharya. It means now we are in suffering. We think there is a person, there is something. When those things change, we are suffering. We have sorrow, lamentation, pain, those things. If we are mindful and wise, as soon as this thing ceases, we know very well, this has ceased, this is impermanent, this is dissatisfactory, and this is selfless. Then we don't go to the world, we come inside. That karma, that mental formations belong to the actions, neither black nor white. Kammakaya samvatati, which cause us to overcome mental formations, the rebirth, becoming. For that, we should practice insight meditation. Before we insight meditation, our mind should be concentrated. When we are going to practice concentration, we should have good discipline in our speech and behavior. And when we are going to practice sila, We should listen to Dhamma through good association. When we are going to find a good association, we should be generous, we should be honest, we should be wise. We should be gently spoken. We should be gently spoken. We should be ready to listen to what they say. We should have good friends. We should associate with them. We should pay attention what they say. Yes.
So Dukkha-Satya is only Vijnana-Charya, right?
Here, this is Dukkha-Satya. Dukkha-Satya, again, if we are ignorant, it becomes the Samudaya-Satya. Here, Samudaya-Satya. Dukkha-Satya arises and ceases, we are mindful and wise. If we are ignorant, we take them with another form. Here arises only, 5 aggregates. When it comes here, we take it as the 5 grasping aggregates, that clinging to aggregates. Yes, upadana, clinging. Yes.
2 words you went over. I think one was nihilism. What was the Pali word? There were 2. I wrote down
Nihilism.
Asetta.
Yes, annihilism and nihilism.
Can you write them down?
Yes, nihilism means uchchedavada. Nihilism means uchchedavada. Uchcheda nihilism. Sassata means annihilism. Nihilism and annihilism. That is the thing that Karanimetta Sutta says, Dittincha anupagamma selava dassanena sampanno. We should have a moral conduct, virtue, without going extremes. Those who are nihilism and annihilism. We find the middle path here. Middle path means, with the understanding of the dependent origination, we find the Sila Samadhi Panya, or the Eightfold Path.
Thank you.
Yes, you are welcome. Okay, thank you so much for your good attention. When you come again and again, you can develop your understanding. The more you come to the class, the more you understand the path. And not only you understand the path, but you go forward on the path. For that I wish you all the best. By the power of these meritorious deeds, may our departed relatives also receive this spiritual energy. May they enhance their energy and may they have a better life, and finally they also attain the final bliss of liberation. With that intention, let's share these merits with departed relatives too. Idam me jnatinam hotu sukhita hontu jnatayo. Idam me jnatinam hotu sukhita hontu jnatayo. Idam me jnatinam hotu sukhita hontu jnatayo. By the power of all these meritorious deeds, may guardian deities and angels also receive this spiritual energy. May they enhance their divine energy. May they keep their eye on you too. May they also attain the final bliss of liberation, Nibbana. With that intention, let's share these merits with guardian deities and angels too. Akasatta ca bummatta deva naga mahiddhika punyantang anumoditva shirang rakkantu sasanam. Akasatta ca bummatta deva naga mahiddhika punyantang anumoditva shirang rakkantu desanam. Akasatta ca bummatta deva naga mahiddhika Punyantang anumoditva shirang rakkantu tvang sada. By the power of all these meritorious deeds, may you be well, happy and peaceful. May no harm come to you. May no problems come to you. May no difficulties come to you. May your all righteous wishes meet with success. Finally, may all of us attain the final bliss of liberation. Dukkham pantha ca niddukkha, bhayam pantha ca nibhaya, sokam pantha ca nissoka, hontu sambe pipanino. Let those who are in misery be free from misery. Let those who are in fear be free from fear. Let those who are in sorrow be free from sorrow. May all beings be free from misery, fear and sorrow. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.